Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Marilyn Darling Show, and welcome to a simple calligraphy tutorial. I'm going to kind of go over some simple monoline calligraphy. Today we're going to be using the PENTAL clear point 0.7mm pencil, just your regular pencil. You can use a monoline fountain pen. This will be good for any type of fountain pen, really. Oh no, it's telling me I need to restart. Not now. We'll do it later. So we're going to use a pencil. I do want to show you what this looks like on a whole bunch of different pieces of paper. If you have calligraphy paper, use that. Alright, so this is JNB Copperplate Graph Pad from JohnNeilBooks.com. Let's see how much this cost. John Neil Copperplate Graph Pad. The Copperplate Graph Pad is $9.95 for 50 sheets of this type of paper. And this is the acrylic cross-section pad. And you can get any cross-section pad on Amazon. Let me see if Amazon also has Copperplate Graph Pad. You can also get calligraphy paper on Amazon. And you can get a graph pad for like $10 also. You can get them actually as low as $2.36, which is kind of crazy. You get 80 sheets. And then this is Bayfeng calligraphy practice paper. And I got this at the Art Supply Warehouse in Westminster, and it looks like this. And it's 19 pounds 74 grams. It has a It has a 55-degree slant. Where's the 52-degree slant? All I know is it's very steep. The Copperplate Graph Pad is a little more leany, let's say. So if you want more of an upright style, you might try the Bayfeng calligraphy practice paper. Or if you want to use a straight up and down, I'll show you how to do that on the cross-section pad. Where shall we start? Let's start with the cross-section pad. Oh God, everything is sticky. I spilt coffee all over the place because my stupid chair decided to throw me forward. Spilled coffee all over my desk, all over my frickin' book. It's horrible. Don't spill things on your things. Okay? Alright, let's start with the cross-section pad. We're going to use our pencil. And what we're going to do is we're going to take it, we're going to turn our paper so that the points are pointing away from each other. So if you were to hold it down here and then up here, and then you hold them and pull them as far apart from your belly button out as possible, and then just let it drop. This should be your natural resting pull. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm also going to turn my camera in the direction of the script so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay. So, when you're doing straight up and down calligraphy, I'm going to make this is called upstroke, downstroke, an overturn, an underturn, a compound curve, an ascending stem loop, a descending stem loop, and an oval. Those are the basics. Those are the basic structure of calligraphy. Okay. Now, what is an oval? An oval is twice the length of its height. So I made this incorrectly. I'm going to make this go up, over, around, down, and then back up. The same goes for these things. It should be oval shaped. So, I'm going to make them twice as high as they are. Twice as high. Oops. Can't see what I'm talking about. Twice as high as they are wide. So it'll be twice this high, and then it'll be very thin. Okay. Move this up there so I can see. Okay, so now we're going to learn the R stroke. We're going to come, here's our baseline. Okay, this is what all of the letters sit on. That's the baseline. The first, and here would be our second ascender line. That is where the middle of the line is, where the very top of the line would be. So if this were to be on a normal piece of paper, let me show you. So when writing, this is the baseline, and this is the second ascender line. Okay? So, and then this would be the X height, because that is how tall the X should be. And then this would be the first ascender, which is halfway between the X height and the second ascender. So this would be like where the T gets crossed and the I gets dotted. Alright, so now we're going to talk about more of how to put these letters together. Remember, this is on a cross-section pad. It's going straight up and down. So you're going to start. These are 5. No, let me see. Let me see if I can show you. Alright, these are 4 rows across. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are 5 rows across and 5 rows down. Each of these little squares is 5 rows across and 5 rows down. And then it's be 10 up and 10 across for each of these big squares. So we're going to go from the middle of the second square all the way up to the X height. And it's going to look like that. We're going to do this in a curving motion, so I kind of mucked it up a little bit. We're going to come towards the and straight up. It's going to be like a curve. Okay? And we're going to do that again. We're going to curve up. We're going to curve up. Curve up. We're going to do that several times so that we can get a good idea of how this is supposed to look. And you can see that in between here, these 3 little squares, I'm just barely touching the corner of this square here. Let's see if I can make this more clear. There we go. So here I'm just grazing the top of this one, but you should be just barely touching this square here. It'll come from the bottom here. I'm going to curve in, barely graze that. Oops. I'm not watching what I'm doing through the camera. I'm watching through my phone. So, I'm going to curve from here up. Okay. From there up. There up. Here up. Up. Okay? Something like that. Now, I'm not perfect. These are never going to be perfect. So, just try and do your best. Try to keep it looking like a... This is called an upstroke. Okay, you want to do several of those just to get the idea of making an entry stroke to your letters. Alright, let's go over here. We're going to drop down 2 spaces, and we're going to call this our second ascender. And here is our baseline. And here is our X height. Okay? That's how big our X is. So you can see that these letters aren't going to be very big. These are about 1 inch. Let's see exactly how big these are. These are inch tall squares by, so this would be like each of these little squares is 1/10 of an inch, which is awkward because I don't know how you would measure that. And it's definitely not centimeters. Anyway, alright, so we're going on to the next one, which is the hard downstroke. So you're going to do straight strokes from the middle of the X height all the way down to the baseline. And we're going to do a couple of those. This is great practice. You're not going fast, you're just going to go just the right speed. Okay. After we've done a few of those, now we're going to go to the next one. We're going to do an overturn. Now the overturn starts in the middle and on the line. We go up to the X height, curve up, hit the X height, and then we curve back down like that. So we're going to go up, over, and back down. 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 You want to try and go the same speed all the way around. Up, over, and back down. You don't want to shoot up and then shoot down, because then you start making weird mistakes like this. Or you don't want to go up and then go down, because you'll make one of your legs wonky. So then we're going to try and we're going to go nice and slow up, around, and down. Slow up, around, and down. And if you feel like your lines are shaky, just go a little bit faster. A little bit faster or a little bit slower, depending on how your hand is doing. So you can already see that this one is a no, and if you think that you're making a mistake, don't erase it. Just put a little X and move on, because then you can come back and you can look at these and you can say, oh, I did this wrong, I did that wrong, look at what I did. Today is the 3rd of October. Always label the date on your practice sheets, so that way you know that you did this on this date and it was horrible and you moved forward and you did a better job. Alright, so now we're going to move down 10 squares. Alright, let's do the next one. We're going to do an underturn. The same thing as an overturn, only backwards. So we're going to mark off our X height. We're going to start at the X height. We're going to come down. We'll touch the baseline and then right back up. Down, curve, 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 up. Alright, now we're going to do probably one of the most difficult ones. Is we're going to do the compound curve. The compound curve goes from this mark to this mark. And we're going to go up, like we're doing an overturn. We're going to come down, and then we're going to do an underturn. We're going to come right back up to that X height. And we're going to try and make the spaces in between these bits here the same size. Okay? And you might not be able to do it at first. That's okay. Just try your best. Now you don't want to do this. You don't want to come up straight, go down, and then up. That's not how to do it. And if you notice that you're going up and you're going too thin and then very wide, you'll see that there is a space that's bigger here and not there. So those are also no. Okay? Alright, let's go down 2 more spaces. I'm going to use my ruler so I can do this faster. Oops. I did it with my eraser. Here it is. Okay. So the next, nope, wait a minute. I need my ruler again. Okay. Now we're going to do the next one, which is the ascending stem loop. The ascending stem loop starts, we're going to mark off our X height. We're going to start at the top of the X height, and we're going to go towards this point right here. We're going to go up right here, and then we're going to curve, and then we're going to come down. So we're going to come up just like we're making a loop, like a balloon. It's going to come up towards the middle and then curve in and then down. So you want to make sure that you're not going past the middle point before you go turn and go back down. And they should look like balloons. And it shouldn't go more than a half of a space, so that way that you can put another letter in there. If you go all the way over and around, that's too big. So this would be no. And also if you go too thin, this is no. So you want to make sure that it comes up about 2.5 spaces all the way up to the X height, around, and then back down. Also, if you go too fast, you might make it or if you go too slow, you might notice that it's shaky, so you don't want to do that. You want to go just the right amount of speed to maintain that shape. Okay? Alright, we're going to drop 2 down. Okay. Alright, so the next one that we're going to do is the descending stem loop. Now we're going to say that right here is our X height, okay, and we're going to start at the top of the X height, and we're going to go just below, about halfway below, between the baseline and the second X height, which would be there, and we're going to start curving in, okay, and then we're going to curve up, and like we're going towards this point here. So we're going to come up, we're going to go down, curve around, out, and then like we're going towards there. Down, around, and up. Down, around, and up. Down, around, and up. Okay. Down, around, you'll notice that if you go too big, it doesn't look good, so that's a no. And also, if you go too thin, that looks too bad. So try and make sure that you make it just a little bit halfway into the next space. Okay? Down, around, and up. Okay, the last letter that we're going to need for this series is the oval. So here is our box. And we're going to start at the middle of the box. And we're going to go up, over, around, and down, and back up. This. So here is our target area. Okay. We're going to start in the middle, we're going to come up, we're going to hit the middle, we're going to come around and go down, and then we're going to hit the bottom and come back up. Okay, so it should look like this. It's an oval. Okay, come up, around, down, and up, around, down, and up. Up, around, down, and up. Now you'll notice that if we go too thin, it's too thin. And if you go too thick, it just looks like a circle. And we're not making circles, we're making ovals. So, up, over, around, down, and up. Okay? Alright, let's go down 2 spaces. Now we're gonna try writing some letters. Alright, where am I? We're gonna write some letters. We're gonna write the letter A. Okay, so the A, we're going to mark off our X height, and we're going to go upstroke. We're going to go in the middle of this space. We're going to start in the middle, and we're going to go up, oval, around, down, and up. Okay, and then we're going to do an underturn. We're going to do underturn like that. Okay. Now when you're making an oval, you want to make sure that you stop your upstroke right in the middle, right smack dab in the middle of the square. Okay, I'm going to go up, over, around, down, barely touch that upstroke, and then barely touch that oval and make an underturn. Okay? Now the B, we're going to make an upstroke, an ascending stem loop, and an oval. And then another upstroke. Okay? Now you always want to make your upstroke probably more than half, or more than double, the height of your ovals. So that way you can go into another letter. Say that we're going into a C. We do a C, so we're going into an oval style letter. And we're going to start in the middle, we're going to come up, over, around, and instead of going back up again, we're going to start our next upstroke. Okay? So it kind of looks like a spiral. The D, we're going to make an upstroke. We're going to make an oval. We're going to make an ascending stem loop. And we're going to make an upstroke. So that when we go into the next letter, we're going to make it like that. Okay? So when we go into the E, we're going to do okay, we're not ready to do a D yet. So E, F, G. We can do a G, so we're going to do an upstroke, an oval, a descending stem loop, and an upstroke. C, D, E, F, G, H. So we can do an H. We're going to do an upstroke, an ascending stem loop, and a compound curve. Okay. An I is pretty simple. We're going to do an upstroke and an underturn. And we're going to tittle our eyes. The J is pretty simple. We're going to do an upstroke, a descending stem loop, an upstroke, and a tittle. L is another simple one. We're going to do an upstroke, an ascending stem loop, and an upstroke. M is pretty simple too. We're going to use 3 quarter spaces, or 3 half spaces. We're going to do an overturn, and a compound curve. So actually we're using 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. An N uses 3 spaces. We're going to do an overturn and a compound curve. Okay. An oval is an upstroke, an oval, and a comma dot, or an underturn. Underturn into your next letter. Alright, let's go down 2 spaces. Okay. Okay, P is an upstroke, an oval, a descending stem loop, and an upstroke. Sorry, that's G. This is what I get when I'm tired. Okay, so we just made a G. Let's do an upstroke, a descending stem loop, and an oval, and an upstroke. Okay. Okay, and the next one that we're going to do is a T as an upstroke and a giant underturn and a cross. A V is a compound curve and an underturn. A U is an upstroke, an underturn, and an underturn. And a W is an upstroke, an underturn, and a connecting underturn. And those are all of the letters that we can do today. Shall we go on? Can I get it? Oh yeah. No? Okay. Well, we'll go on then. The next sets of letters that we're going to learn is, let's see, we're going to go down 2 spaces. Mark off our spaces good. The next set of letters that we're going to learn are more complicated than these ones. Let's see. We're going to mark off our X height. We're going to learn the reverse descending stem loop, the reverse oval, the dash, the tittle, the cross, the R stroke, the S stroke, and the Z stroke. Okay. In the next part we're going to do a descending, reverse descending stem loop. So we're going to do just the reverse of the descending stem loop, only we're going to come down. We're going to stop about 3/4 between the baseline and the second descender. So if the lines were to be written on a normal piece of paper, they would look like this. And here is our X height, and this is the baseline, and this is the second ascender. This is the X height. This is the first ascender. This is the first descender, and this is the second descender. Okay? So if you're writing a letter like F, it goes all the way up to the second ascender, all the way down to the second descender, and then up, like that. Okay? So we're going to come down to the first descender. We're going to curve down and in, and then back up and towards, like we're going to this dot over here. Okay, so we're going to come down, curve around, out, like we're going to right there. Down, around, and out. Down, around, and up. Down, around, and up. Down, around, and up. Down, around, and up. Kind of looks like an upside down droplet. Okay, now we're going to do the reverse oval. Here's our X height, and we're going to start on the left hand side of the oval. We're going to come up, over, around, down, and up, just like we did with the oval, but backwards. We're going to go up, over, around, down, and up. Up, over, around, down, and up. And if you make them too skinny, that's a no. And if you make them too fat, that's a no. Same thing with here. If you make them too big, this one might have been a little too big. So just keep that in mind. We're almost done. Alexa, stop. So the next one we're going to learn is the R stroke, mark off our X height. We're going to, this is the first ascender and this is the second ascender. You're going to come in from the second ascender about 1/5 down and then into an underturn. It kind of looks like that. Kind of looks like a swoop in, because when you write the R, we're going to do an upstroke. We're going to slant in from just right above that, the top of that upstroke, down like this, and then we're going to go into an underturn. So we have our R. Okay. So we're going to do upstroke, swoop in, underturn. And it really shouldn't be any more than the quarter height. So about that big. So we're going to swipe in upstroke, slant, underturn. Upstroke, slant, underturn. Upstroke, slant, underturn. Okay. The S stroke is the same kind of thing. We're going to do an upstroke. And the S starts at the same height as the R does and swoops down, touches the top of that upstroke, and makes an S shape. And then as soon as you get to the bottom and you touch that upstroke, you're going to make a dot. It's called a terminal dot. And it looks like that. Okay? So we're going to go upstroke, S stroke, terminal dot. Upstroke, S stroke, terminal dot. Upstroke, S stroke, terminal dot. And if you make them too tight, there's no really good place to make a nice terminal dot. So you want to make them just big enough so that they take up about one whole space. Upstroke. Maybe 2 spaces. Okay? Upstroke, upstroke, S stroke. The T's. Okay, let's do just a couple more of these. We'll do a upstroke, S stroke, upstroke, S stroke. All right, let's skip down 2 lines. Alright, so the T, let's do the E stroke. Okay, so here's our X height. Now, here is the X height. Here is the first ascender, second ascender. Well, the E starts in the middle of the X height, so we call that the first quarter. Okay, the first quarter, we start at the first quarter, we come up to the X height, and then down to the baseline, and then back up to the X height. So, come upstroke, dash, up, around just like an oval. Upstroke, dash, up, oval, and out. Upstroke, oval, out, dash. Upstroke, dash, up, oval, around, and out. Upstroke, dash, up, over, around, and out. If you make them too wide, they look not great. And if you make them too thin, then they don't look great either. That's more of a Spencerian E, and you can make an E like that. You can go up and just make a loop like this. That's fine too. But just make sure that you have a little bit of space on the inside of that E, so that way you know what you're writing, and other people can read it too. And don't make sure that it doesn't go much more than 3/4, because if you go up that much, people are going to be confused. They're going to think it's an L, they might think it's a T, so just make sure that you keep it inside the lines. Okay? Alright, so the T is the same way. We're going to make an upstroke. We're going to do a big underturn. And this is the cross stroke. That goes at the 3/4 height, or the first ascender. Okay? Upstroke, big underturn. And the cross goes at the 3/4 height. Now T's technically are only supposed to go up to 90%. 90% of the height. That's somewhere between the 3/4 height and the second ascender. Okay, which is a very weird rule, and I just kind of do whatever when it comes to the T, as long as you cross it somewhere between the first ascender and the second ascender. So, upstroke, underturn, cross. And we'll get into a little bit of flourishing on another day that talks about, you know, how to make your flourishes go from one letter to another, and how to make it appropriately pretty. Okay? Alright, let's move on to, and let's drop 2 down. Okay, and the last letter that we need to learn is the Z stroke. Mark off our X height. We're going to take and we're going to do kind of like an overturn, but at the very last bit we're going to come in just a little bit. Oh, you can't even see what I'm doing, sorry. So we're going to come in just a little bit right there. We're going to go up, over, around, down, and in, not touching, but just in a little bit. And then from there, we're going to go out, back to the line, and then we're going to do a little fish. Okay? I'm going to go up, around, in, out, down, loop, and up. And that is our Z stroke. Okay. So here we go. We're going to go up, over, around, and in, out, around, up, and then you'll finish it with another upstroke. Okay. Well, we have one last letter to learn before we can start writing some alphabets. We're going to learn the X. The X is probably one of the most confusing because we're going to make a Z. We're going to make a Z. Then we're going to stop, and we're going to come up here, and we're going to make a C. Okay? So, we're going to make an overturn, and let's see, underturn, an overturn, and an underturn, an overturn, and an underturn. Now you could make your X's a giant compound curve and then cross it. But sometimes people might think that this is an N that's crossed, or an I, or an T. I don't know. Some people get confused. So just make sure that you are aware that different people make these differently. Okay? Hi Ron, how are you? Some people even do something crazy. They go like this. Wait a minute. It's like this. So, however you make your X's, just make sure that that it's. I don't like these, so just. And of course, if you want to, you can just do an X. I'm doing very well, thank you very much. Okay, let's flip our paper over, and we're gonna do some more. We're gonna do the alphabet. The alphabet. Mark off our spaces so we don't get excited. Too excited anyway. Alright. Let's write the alphabet. I am doing very well, thank you. Okay. Alright, here we have, there's our X height. We're going to do upstroke, oval, underturn, an upstroke, an ascending stem loop, a reverse oval, an upstroke, a C stroke, an upstroke, an oval, an ascending stem loop, an upstroke, a dash, an E, an oval, an upstroke. The F is an upstroke, an ascending stem loop into a reverse descending stem loop into an upstroke. The G is an upstroke, an oval, a descending stem loop into an upstroke. The H is an upstroke, an ascending stem loop into a compound curve. Oops, can't even see, I'm sorry. Trying to keep everything there. The I is an upstroke and an underturn with a tittle. The J is an upstroke with a descending stem loop with an upstroke and a tittle. The K is an upstroke, ascending stem loop. Did we talk about the K loop? I don't think we did. That was the one I forgot. Okay. Let's do the K really quickly. K is an upstroke, ascending stem loop, and you're going to make an ascending stem loop, but a reverse ascending stem loop. So we're going to come up, around, and in, and then we're going to make an underturn. So it's a miniature reverse ascending stem. So we're going to make an upstroke, ascending stem loop, a reverse stem loop, and an underturn. An upstroke, ascending stem loop, underturn. Upstroke, ascending stem loop, reverse stem loop, underturn. Okay, so we're going to do a reverse stem loop, underturn. The L is an upstroke, an ascending stem loop, and an upstroke. M is a overturn, an overturn, and a compound curve. An N is an overturn and a compound curve. An O is an upstroke, an oval, and a connecting underturn. Alright, let's skip 2 down. Okay, where am I? Here we go. Okay. Oh, it's a little cockeyed, it's fine. Alright, so the P is an upstroke. Oops. Advanced lead upstroke, and descending stem loop, and a reverse oval, and an upstroke. The Q is an upstroke, an oval, a reverse descending stem loop, and an upstroke. An R is an upstroke, a dash, and an underturn. An S is an upstroke, an S stroke with a terminal dot, and an upstroke. T is an upstroke, an underturn, and a cross. A U is an upstroke, an underturn, and an underturn. V is a compound curve and an underturn. W is an upstroke, an underturn, and a connecting underturn. X is a modified overturn and a C. Y is a compound curve and a descending stem loop and an upstroke. And the Z is a modified overturn and a modified underturn and an upstroke. And there we did it. We did the whole miniature alphabet on the cross-section notepad. So, tomorrow we will start on another pad. No, actually, let's continue. How long have I been going? Too long? Only an hour. Okay, we're gonna do the capital letters on this. We're gonna do the capital letters. That'll keep us going for a little while. So, let's do some capitals. Let's skip 2 down. capitals are kind of their individual-esque things. So, there's our X-ray. This is the universal line of beauty. Okay, it's supposed to be 2 spaces wide and 4 spaces tall. So it's oblong, and most people try to make it look like a wiggly line, but it's supposed to be a straight line with a little wiggle in it. Okay? And it goes from one corner to the other. And it shouldn't look like this. That's a no. And it shouldn't look like this. That's a no. So just a little tiny wiggle. Not even a wiggle. Just kind of a nice swooping flow. Okay? Let's drop 2 down. Alright, let's do some reverse ovals. When we do the reverse oval, it usually looks like that. And this circle and this circle should be the same shape. So it should look something like that. Okay. Alright. Let's drop 2 down. Pretty much the rest of these you're just gonna have to memorize. The A is a universal line of beauty with a straight leg and a looping through. And it's usually inside of the X-site where the looping through happens. The B is a universal line of beauty with a reverse oval and another hump of a reverse oval. A C is just like a miniature C, but bigger. A D is a universal line of beauty. And I'm going to do a reverse oval, only we're going to do a big reverse oval, touch the bottom, come back up, and then connect it to that universal line of beauty. The E is kind of a spiral, and then another spiral. The F is a universal line of beauty with a little hat, with a big hat and a little body. A G is a horizontal oval into a lateral oval into a descending stem loop into an upstroke. Or you could just make it an oval into a descending stem loop into an upstroke. Alright, the H is we're going to make a leg, and then a leg, and then looping through, just like we did with the A. You can also do an H like these, or an H like these. Just depends on your style. Let's drop 2 down. Okay, let's look at the I. Let's mark off our X height. The I is from the middle of the X height. We're going to come up to the X height, down to the baseline, up to the second ascender, down to the baseline, and into an upstroke. Okay, so it's going to look like that. Or you can do a reverse spiral into a universal line of beauty. Okay. A J looks like that. A K is a leg, come up, over, around, down, in, down, out, and up. That's a K. An L is like that. An M looks like that. An N looks like that. An O is an oval with a little loop at the top. P is universal line of beauty, reverse oval. Q, you start at the bottom of your oval, you go up like this, oval, come back down, and then loop out to make your little leg on your Q. R is a universal line of beauty, a reverse oval, and a leg. Sorry, I had to deal with that sound. Woo! Alright, everybody stretch, because it's been a long time. We've maybe do some circles with your arms, crack your knuckles, stretch, have a nice big stretch. Alright, stretch out those fingers. We're almost done. We're almost done. We're so close. Alright, let's drop 2 down. The S is a very weird shape. Okay, the S is a very interestingly weird shape. You start at the baseline. Let's mark off our X height. We're going to start at the baseline. We're going to come reverse upstroke. So usually we go down, but we're going to go up, curve into the upstroke, and then we're going to make an 8 shape. Okay, and then we're going to continue the 8 shape up to the X height, and then into the middle of that 8 shape. So it should look like that. Okay. T, you're going to make a universal line of beauty. You're going to make kind of a reverse oval, but we're going to make a hat instead. The U is a reverse oval into an underturn, into an underturn. A V is a upper compound curve into a universal line of beauty, into a reverse universal line of beauty, into a overturn reverse oval. W is reverse oval into a leg, into a loop, into a reverse oval. And X is a reverse oval like these. Y is a reverse oval into an underturn just like the U. Well, we're going to go into a descending stem loop into an upstroke. And a Z, we start at the top, we make a little loop, and then we make into like a giant reverse C, into a little loop, into a modified descending stem loop, into an upstroke. And we did it. We did all of the alphabets. Yay! Now these look very complicated, and they pretty much are. And there are many different ways to do these letters. And with time and practice, you will be able to turn them into your own. And some people do really fancy letters. Alright, there we have it. There's the whole alphabet. Now, you can make these look nicer than mine, I'm sure. But this is just the quick way of doing this. Now we can actually put these and make these into words. Let's do live chat. Live chat. Let's do one. Alright. And just for giggles and snorts, alright, there you are. So, that is the basis you can start on if you have this type of paper. We'll probably get into some more slanted things later. I got a little too slanty down here. They should be a little more uppy down like this up here. So, let's see the J. Yep. D. E. So. There you are. Alright, well, that's all for today. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. I hope that you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the little bell, make sure it's set to all, so when I upload new content, YouTube notifies you, and I will be back very soon with another video. So, take care until then. Okay, love you, bye, have a great day.